Good morning, Richard. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me about the Brahms Requiem that we, the Waverley Singers, are performing under your direction in Aldershot on the 25th of March. Now, you've said to us that this is one of your favourite pieces. You've always been particularly attached to it. So maybe you could just tell us a little bit about the piece and why you like it so much.
Well, it's such a beautiful piece. It's Brahms is one of my favorite composers. All his music is very warm. It's very expressive, and the Requiem is just, it's his longest work that he wrote. So it's a absolutely beautiful piece. I like the fact that it's got the comforting element of the Requiem, and also the sort of the idea of death, victory. Death being swallowed up by victory. It's kind of a very optimistic piece. So it starts with this word selig, means blessed, and a lot of the movements are about comfort. So in a way, it's like the Foro Requiem in that it's not looking unlike Verdi at the scary side of Judgment Day. He described it as a sort of secular piece as well as a sacred one. The texts are all biblical. So he wrote it after the death of his mother. He was very moved by that, and the piece is generally seen as a direct response to her death. And there's just so many levels to how beautiful it is. There's some fantastic solos. The soprano solo, which was actually added last. Originally, he didn't include the soprano solo. That was a later addition. Originally, he conceived it as a 6-movement piece, and the soprano solo was added later. But there's just a sublime piece of music in its own right. So we've got these 7 long movements, and each of them are a fantastic work. Many choral singers will know movement 4, Wie lieblich sind seine Wohnungen, how lovely is thy dwelling place, which is sometimes sung by church choirs and things like that at services, which is perhaps the best known piece. The choral movement, it's just got this lovely sweep, and it's all very lush. I mean, Brahms is a very lush composer. It's warm, it's beautifully scored, and it's great to sing. And the other thing that was really important about the piece is that it was, it's called a German Requiem. So he was very keen to write a piece that was in the German language. It was in the language of his people, not a Latin mass. It's something for people to understand. So I think it makes it a very personal piece to him as well, and therefore it makes it, for me, a personal piece too.
Thank you. And I think you explained to us that this piece can be performed in a number of different versions. So maybe you could just explain the version that we're using.
Yes, in terms of the scoring, the original version is for full orchestra, quite a large orchestra. You need a big choir, and that's the sort of full version. He also wrote the piano arrangement himself. And he prepared a version for, I think, for Clara Schumann to play to her. And there's also a piano duet version, which includes all of the vocal music. So that's almost like a home piece to play at home. You could play the whole piece with just a piano duet. So those are the kind of versions which have been going around. Generally, the piano version is used for rehearsal. Sometimes people perform the piano duet version. That's quite common and works nicely with smaller choirs. Well, I mean, when I say smaller, I mean smaller than 150. The full version is very, very loud, so you have to have a very big choir to balance it. But what we're doing with the Waverley Singers concert on the 25th of March is a version by Ian Farrington, which is, obviously fairly recent. And this aims to take it uses 8 instruments, including the piano, so it gives the kind of sonority of the piano version, which obviously has a very authentic feel because it's by Brahms himself. And you can tell it's by Brahms. When you play it, it feels exactly like playing a Brahms sonata or something. You can just the way he writes for the piano is so distinctive, and it feels so comfortable. What Ian Frankton has done is to add the sustaining powers of strings and some wind instruments to that ensemble, to give the warmth and the things that the piano can't do, the sustaining through very slow movements, for example, to make it something which is kind of a bit of the best of both worlds and works with the smaller choir and will be absolutely beautiful in our concert in Aldershot.
So we've got the Chameleon Arts Ensemble playing Brahms arranged Farrington, and we've also got a couple of excellent soloists. So maybe tell us a bit about them.
Exactly. Well, Henna Moon is sang with us last March. She sang with us in the concert of Mozart's Mass in C minor in the Maltings last year, and she was absolutely fantastic. And actually, she contacted me and said, "I see you're doing the Brahms Requiem, and have you got a soprano soloist yet?" And I hadn't thought of getting. I mean, she's actually one of our Josephine Baker Trust artists, and this isn't a Josephine Baker Trust because it's not with full orchestra. But we were all hugely taken with her singing and what she brought to the whole concert. She's got that serenity, and the Brahms is a very difficult piece to sing for the soprano because you sit there for half the concert and then you have to stand up and do this unbelievably beautiful and high and sustained, very, very long phrase. It's a very difficult thing to do. It has to sound absolutely sublime, and it's extremely difficult. So I was delighted that she was interested in doing that, and I said, "Yes, please. Would you like to come and sing with us?" And she was really pleased, and I'm hoping I might get her to do a song or two. She's definitely going to do Strauss's Morgan, which is a beautiful, beautiful song. Do Google it and listen. We're going to get the violinist to play the violin solo, which is used in the full orchestral version of that. It's another song which is by Strauss, which has been arranged, which there's an orchestral version for. And so the other soloist is John Lofthouse. He's quite well known locally, does all sorts of musical genres. He was at the Guildhall, studied at years ago, I think the Opera Studio. I've worked with him on a number of occasions, done recitals with him. He's a very engaging chap and really, really good fun. And he'll do some songs as well by Brahms and possibly others.
And of course, he gets to sing the piece that all of us amateur baritones would love to be able to perform, the Herr Lehrer doch mich. It's a dream piece, and I'm certainly looking forward to hearing him singing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he gets the kind of the dramatic moments. Absolutely, it's very it's wonderful writing, and it'll suit him down to the ground because it's a real baritone part. It's quite a high part, and he's got an operatic voice. He'll be terrific.
Well, that sounds terrific. Got a great ensemble, 2 excellent soloists. I'm sure it's going to be a terrific concert.
Yeah, I can't wait. And we're also doing with it. We're doing the Mendelssohn Sprüche, which are 6 pieces written for different times of the year, and they're kind of fairly short, unaccompanied pieces, but they're very lush as well because they're in 8 parts, some of them, and there'll be a great showcase for the choir. The other thing to say about this concert, specifically with the Waverley Singers, is that our recent when we did our Christmas concert, our soprano soloist Nina Bennett, who was wonderful, said this choir, when she heard the choir, she said, "What a fantastic choir! What a big, powerful, warm sound." And then when she heard we were doing the Brahms, she said, "This choir is going to sound fantastic in the Brahms," and that's completely true. This is very much our piece. The choir is going to absolutely nail this. It's the perfect piece for the Waverley Singers because they're, because the power and the warmth and if you're looking for a choir to join and a good piece to do, you couldn't get better than this time with us.
Well, amen to that. And thanks very much for sparing the time to tell us about it all, Richard. I'm really looking forward to the concert as well.